Welcome back to 15 Lessons in 15 Weeks. This is week 11, and I am going to be talking about when I was 25 years old. And if you have been following along my journey over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe you know a little bit more and are familiar with what I've been up to, the things that I've done, or even kind of just where I've been on my journey. And if you have been following along, thank you so much for joining me in just different parts of my life and encouraging me if you have, praying for me if you have, challenging me if you have. I'm so grateful for all of you who are my community, wherever you may live, however many miles are in between us. I'm very grateful for everyone that's been on this journey with me. But this week, I am actually going to read you guys a post from my Instagram that I actually wrote the kind of at the end of my 25th year. So I was technically turning 26, but I was writing about the year of 25. And so I'm just gonna read you a little bit because I basically was just trying to figure out how to sum up year 25, because that was a huge year for me. Josh and I started dating, and we started dating in September of 2018. We got engaged in April of 2019, and all of that happened obviously in the year 25 for me. And so it's a big year, and there was a lot of things that happened in the middle. There were a lot of countries that Josh and I got to travel to together for the first time, and it was so much life I got to see of his, which was such a blessing. And so I was trying to figure out how to sum it up, and honestly, I kind of, I was like, I'm gonna look to see what I wrote, after this year, because for the last couple years, I think on my Instagram, I've kind of tried to sum up my year, in a post like some of us do. And so there was a phrase that I wrote in this post that I just thought, you know what, that was the lesson that I learned at 25. That was kind of the thing that unfolded to me. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to point out the lesson and kind of go from there. So towards the end of my post, I said, I want to remember and hold dear to my heart that seasons don't have finish lines. I'm finished with one season, leaving it behind me, and I get to walk into a new season knowing that what I sow will continue to leave its mark on my harvest. And I want to sow well, knowing that my Father produces a harvest too incredible and unfathomable for words. And I think the thing that sums up year 25 for me, and the lesson that I learned, was that what I sow will leave its mark on the harvest in my future. And the reason why I learned this at 25 was probably since the age of, I don't know, like 11 or 12, maybe even a little bit younger than that, I started thinking about my future husband. I started thinking about what I wanted to do. I started thinking about all these different things. And you can ask my parents, I think I was 8 years old the first time I asked for a purity ring. It was so important to me to just make sure that I was keeping an account for myself for my future. And that had to do with my future husband. It had to do with the calling that I felt was on my life. It wasn't just about, trying to be pure in dating or in relationships or all of these things. It was about trying to be pure in everything. It was about sowing into my life when I was young, because I wanted to be able to reap that in the future. And although I probably didn't have the words for that when I was, younger, that's really what I was trying to do. I, prayed for my future husband. I wrote letters. I, thought about being a future wife. I thought about the woman that I wanted to be. And if, we talk about the whole you reap what you sow. And this isn't necessarily a lesson about, reaping what you sow, but I want to mainly talk about how if you're struggling where you are, and you know that you have dreams, you know that you have vision, you know that you want to be somewhere that you're not. The lesson that I want you to hear today, and the challenge that I want you to hear today, is sow into where you are for that dream to come true. So into, whether it's learning a new skill that you're going to need for that dream, or whether it's, practicing something that you're already good at, but you want to be great at, or even whether it's giving your money to an organization or a ministry that maybe you're not working for or not a part of, but you want to be. I was challenged when I was at Bible school to actually sow financially into ministries that gripped my heart, into organizations that gripped my heart, because, they were like, it's important to sow into the kingdom of where you feel called to. And so this lesson, simply what I sow will leave its mark on the harvest in my life. It's not about trying to stay away from doing bad things so that you're not marking your future in a bad way. No. It's making sure that you're sowing good things and you're being intentional about sowing things into your present that you want for your future. And so, when it came to Josh, so many things that I had prayed for in at first a dating relationship, and then obviously when we, got engaged, and then I got to view him as my fiance, all of these things that I had prayed for were coming true, and I was seeing in him, and it was like, oh my gosh, I prayed for this, and this is actually happening in this guy that, is a gift that, I didn't think that I was even deserving to receive. I prayed that he would be real one day. I prayed that he would, be kind, and that he would be passionate, and that he would be, just so God-fearing and loving Jesus. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And whether that is for a future spouse for you one day, or whether that is for a vision or a calling, we got to do things together in our first year of dating, and even in our first year of marriage, that I didn't even, honestly, I dreamed about, but I didn't even know could happen. And that was, being able to travel together, to do kingdom work, and to see the world and see how, God is moving in the world. And I want to read a couple verses just to kind of show this scripturally, and then I'll close. But 2 Corinthians 9:6 says, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and whoever does bountifully or sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Luke 6:38 says, give and it will be given to you. For the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Psalms 126:6 says, he who goes out weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy, bringing his sheaves with him, or bringing his harvest with him. And all of those things just to simply say, be intentional. Can't even say that word, intentional, not bull. Be intentional about what you're sowing in your present, for what you're praying for, and what you're dreaming about in your future. Because God will do incredibly more than you could ever ask, seek, or imagine. So if what you're asking for is incredible, He's going to do even more than that. But we get to partner with Him. We get to work alongside of Him, and we get to sow for ourselves, in ourselves, for our own future. And, it's an incredible just give and receive. It's an incredible just give and take, and it's an incredible partnership and relationship that we get to be a part of if you follow and walk walk with Jesus. And so I pray that that encourages you. I have a few more weeks to go. And so if you've been following along the whole journey of this 15 lessons in 15 weeks, thank you so much. It has definitely been a challenge, but I am so glad that I've done this, and I can't wait to finish it. Not to just get it over with, but just to be able to look back one day and look at all of these lessons. So I do pray that they've encouraged you, and I'm sorry that this is so long, but I love you guys, and I hope you join me next week. I will see you then. Bye.